Hello, my name is Lillian Okibe. Welcome to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about honey. Honey has so many benefits. It can be used for the skin for glowy skin. It can be used for the hair for like juicy, healthy, glowy hair. Honey is amazing for consumption. Like people use honey to treat ulcer. People use honey. Like I know some hospitals in Nigeria that use honey to dress wounds. Like it's very, very good for like helping wounds to heal. Honey has so many benefits. Like honey is so good that even the Bible talks about honey, saying that like a land flowing with milk and honey, to show you that honey is such and like it's something really, really amazing that is very, very beneficial to us. Unlike many other good things, right, honey doesn't have a bad smell and it also tastes really good. So it's like honey is just good. Like there's nothing wrong about it, but the bad thing about it is getting the pure, original, authentic honey. So many honey, so-called honey that we see in the market are not actually the real deal. Many of the things we buy claiming that it's honey, they're actually mostly cornstarch, probably corn syrup, and then even when we find honey in the market, most of them have gone through a lot of processing, and so all those processing degrades the honey so that it's no longer as beneficial and as healthy to consume or to use for your hair and your skin or whatever you want to use it for. So in today's video we're going to be talking about how to spot raw, pure, organic honey, so that you guys can be reaping benefits. Because I use honey a lot. Like those of you that watch my videos, you guys know that I use honey a lot. I consume honey. I use it for my skin. I use it for my hair. So I use it a lot, and I've been reaping the benefits of honey. So today I'm going to be telling you guys how you can, spot the pure, rich, organic honey. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then please keep on watching. Now, the first thing you want to look out for when you go out to buy honey to know whether it is real, the real deal or not, is the color. Honey has, like, the color of honey can range from anything from dark brown to very light brown, right? But the thing that is constant with honey is that it has a cloudy brownish color. Like it is not clear brown. It is not clear whether light or dark. It is not completely clear. It is a little bit cloudy. It can be lightly cloudy or very cloudy, but honey is generally cloudy. And what's responsible for the cloudy look of honey is the pollen in the honey, because you guys know that honey is made by bees, right? And honey is made from nectars of flowers, right? And the thing is, inside, most times when the bees make honey, it's not just honey that is in the honey, right? Sometimes you can have wax, like beeswax in the honey. You can have sometimes you can even find like dead, like if you get the pure rich one from the farm, it's possible for you to find some dead bees in the honey. But one thing that is constant that you most likely that you should find in your pure raw organic honey is pollen, and that is what is responsible for the cloudy color of honey. And if you guys can see, I don't know, I have a lot of light here, so you guys probably may not be able to tell, but if you guys can see this, you see that it is not like clear color. It's a little bit cloudy. If you compare this to most of the store-bought big brand names, all those big brand names of honey, because they have gone through a lot of processing, all the pollen has been removed from the honey, and so it is usually clear and much clear and kind of pretty to the eyes, because I know that's what many people like to see. They want to see something that is really clean and clear. But the thing is, the pollen in honey is actually good. It's one of the things that is actually responsible for the beneficial properties of honey. The pollen in honey makes the honey better. So when you go ahead and process the honey to remove all the pollens, it kind of degrades the honey. So it's no longer as potent as honey that is cloudy, that has pollen in it. Like I said earlier, it can be dark brown or light brown. Now, European honey is generally lighter in color as compared to African honey. African honey is usually darker, right? And that's why if you guys see this, I don't know if you guys are probably watching me from other parts of the world, maybe Europe and all that, you may be looking at this and like, this is much darker than what I'm used to. African honey is generally dark, right? If you put it like in a container, in a jar, it's usually darker than European honey. But you can also have Africanized honey that is made from Africanized bees, or what many people call killer bees. Killer bees are basically a hybrid between African bees and European bees. So you guys can go ahead and Google it. But basically, Africanized bees, or what you guys know as killer bees, the honey from those kind of bees are usually much darker than honey from regular European bees. And so you may find something like this over there abroad. If you're not in Africa, you may find something like this from bees that create honey over there. But generally, European bees produce honey that is lighter in color, while African honey is much darker. Next thing you want to look out for to know the authenticity of the honey is the weight of the honey. Honey is heavy. Honey is heavy. Honey is heavier than water of the same volume, right? Honey is quite heavy. It's like, I would say it's almost like 2 times the weight of water. Like, it's actually quite heavy than water of the same volume. So another thing you want to look out for, and this is also related to the color, is the glow. Generally, like I said earlier, honey has anything from light to dark brown. It's light or dark brown, anything from light to dark brown in color, depending on where you're getting your honey from, right? But another thing that you should note is that honey has a kind of glow when you put it in light. So if you look at this now, you can see how dark it is, right? If I go ahead and put light near it, you guys can see how like glowy it is, and like how it's kind of like it's see-through now because there is light. So when you put honey against light, it generally glows, right? On its own, when you look at it normally, if you don't put it against light, it's actually, you know, cloudy and, you know, kind of cloudy, you know, that's the normal color. But when you put it against light, you see that it becomes glowy. Now, many of the fake honey that you see around doesn't have this feature. It's the same color whether it is against the light or not. Now, I have one like fake honey that I bought. Let me bring it out to show you, to compare. So now if you look at this honey, you guys can see that this honey is about the same color with the other one I showed you guys, but this is not actually pure organic honey. This is fake honey. I don't know what was mixed into it, but it's definitely not original honey. And if this honey actually failed a lot of the tests that I did, and that goes to show you that it is fake. Now if you put this side by side, you can see that the color is kind of similar, right? But like I showed you guys earlier, that the original honey glows when you put it against light. Now let's do this. You can see I have put light here, there is no glow. So it is the same color whether it is against light or not. You guys can see it is the same color, right? So that is one thing that you can use to spot real pure organic honey. Now the next thing you need to look out for to know if your honey is pure and organic is the viscosity of the honey. Honey is very, very viscous. Like, by viscosity I mean that it doesn't flow easily. If your honey is like watery and like it flows easily, that is like a 100% sign that what you have is not the real deal. Honey is quite viscous. It's like very, very viscous. It doesn't flow easily. Some honey can be so viscous that it is like semi-solid and like creamy in consistency, you know. But honey should not be watery. Honey should not be watery. It can be very, very thick and viscous, and to the point that it can also be kind of like semi-solid, right? Pure organic original honey can be semi-solid, but normally your honey should not be watery. So another thing that you want to look out for to know to know whether your honey is authentic or not is how it tastes. Honey is actually really delicious, and I feel like this is one of the good things about honey, and I feel like this is one of the reasons why honey is so popular. Because unlike many other things that are healthy, many other things, like, it's like they don't really taste that good, or maybe they don't smell that good, you know. But honey has a very nice, delicious taste. It doesn't taste like sugar. It doesn't taste like this. The taste is not as it's not like as sharp as sugar, but it's actually very delicious. I don't know how to explain it, but just know that your honey should taste good. If your honey you buy tastes weird, like if it's not delicious, then it is not the real deal. Honey should taste like really, really nice and like really more like sweet, but it's not like the sweetness is not like that of sugar. Another thing about honey is original honey smells delicious. It smells inviting. Like, it doesn't have a very strong smell. Now, I've gotten some fake honey that has very, very strong, weird smell. If it has a strong, weird smell, that's not the real deal. Real organic pure honey has a kind of, it's not like very, very mild, but at the same time it's not like really strong. It's just, it's, you can smell that there's a smell, right? There's a smell, but the smell is inviting. Like, I can't liken it to anything. Like, it smells really inviting. Now, it doesn't smell like perfumey or like scented. You know, the smell, like I said, the smell is not like strong or like it doesn't smell like perfume in any way, but the smell is actually really inviting, like in a food way, not like in a perfumey way, but like in a food way. It smells like really inviting, kind of sweet. You know, it has a kind of like sweet smell, but the smell is like really mild and really inviting. And that thing you want to look out for, and I feel like this is something that really, like, many fake honey usually fail this test, is honey sinks in water. Like, honey, when you pour honey in like a glass of water, it just sinks to the bottom. It doesn't spread in the water, it doesn't dissolve in the water until you take like maybe a spoon or your hand to stir it. It will remain, it's just like sink down to the bottom of like the glass without mixing with the water, except you intentionally go ahead and mix it. So if your honey, when you pour your honey, like if it doesn't hold itself and like just sink to the bottom of the cup, know that what you have is not the real deal, it is fake. Pure, real, original, organic honey sinks to the bottom of the cup without mixing with the water in the cup, except you manually go ahead and stir it. Another thing that pure honey will have, and this is something that some people will say is a lie, and that's because they are always buying the fake. You know, honey does not attract ants. If the honey that you have attracts, and let me say you keep the bottle of honey somewhere and you can see so many ants finding their way maybe to the top of the bottle or something, then you know that what you have is not the real deal. Probably it is honey that has been mixed with something else, or it has gone through weird processing or something. But real, pure, organic, raw honey doesn't attract ants. Another thing you want to bear in mind with pure organic honey is that it doesn't wet paper. Like, you know, when you put like maybe a lotion on paper or like cream or like water on paper, you can see that it actually wets the surface of the paper, right? But with pure 100% organic honey, it doesn't wet paper. As soon, if you take like maybe a napkin or like a cloth to like clean out the honey, it will clean out, like it doesn't leave wet residue on the paper. Let me go ahead and show you guys. So you guys can see what it looks like when it is poured on paper. So if you just take like maybe a napkin or like toilet roll or something to wipe it off, it's going to like wipe off completely without leaving like any marks or like stains on it. If you compare this to like when you put like, let's say, something that has water in it on paper, you know that it will leave like a dark kind of like marking on the paper, but you guys can see like how clean it is. And also on like oil, like when you put oil on paper, it makes the paper kind of like translucent, but you guys can see like this is completely clear, like it doesn't leave any wet stain or translucent stain on the paper. Another thing you want to bear in mind for your pure organic honey is that it's actually quite sticky on the skin. Like when you apply honey on your skin, it's actually sticky. You know, it doesn't apply like oily and all like oil, like it's actually quite sticky on the skin. Then another thing that you notice with pure rich organic honey is that it's when you apply it on your skin, it doesn't apply like oil. Like, you know, when you apply oil, it's like glowy and like oily and all. With pure raw organic honey, it doesn't spread evenly on your skin such that it's just this seamless, effortless glow while it's on your skin. What it does is it actually spreads out. It kind of forms like tiny droplets all over your skin, unlike oil that just forms like oil, pure glow. Another thing that you can use to test the authenticity of your honey is putting your honey against fire. Like, honey acts as a fuel for fire. So if you take like a matchstick now, dip it in honey and light it, it's going to light without any problem. That is pure rich organic honey, because number one, honey has 0% of water in it, and that's why honey can last for a very long time. I'm talking about the pure organic honey. Part of the process of honey formation is the bees kind of like beat the honey, right, with their wings to extract all the water from it. And so honey has 0% of water. Now, if your honey, and that's why it is a fantastic fuel. If you pour honey in fire, it's going to help the fire to, burn a lot faster. So when you dip your matchstick in honey and you light it, it's going to light easily without any problem. And that's because honey is a fuel. It's a really nice fuel. So if your honey doesn't light easily, then you know that it's not the real deal. So those are all the things that you can look out for to test if your honey is pure and authentic. I want to say that the quality of your honey also depends on how the bees are kept, how they are groomed, and the kind of plants and like the kind of nectar that is available for them to feed on. Because bees form honey from nectars of flowers, right? So depending on the quality of plants that are around, the quality of nectars that are around them, where they go to, feed on, that will also affect the quality of honey and the taste of honey that they produce. And that's why generally African honey is actually really one of the really, really nice honey. It's not so common in like the global market, but it's actually very, very nice and very, very potent. So if you're in Africa, I highly recommend that you take advantage of rich honey that we have. And that's because African honey, beekeeping in Africa is relatively new. We don't have so many people that are doing like beekeeping or the bee farming business on a large scale in Nigeria. Most of the beekeepers in Nigeria, they keep their hives in the forest, right? And the forests are not like, unlike many other parts of the world, most of the plants are man-made, groomed plants. People engage in farming practices where they use a lot of chemicals and a lot of fertilizers and all for their crops to grow and all that. The thing about African forests, where all the hives, where the bee farmers keep their hive, is they are natural forests. The plants grow there naturally. Nobody goes there to put artificial fertilizers and stuff. Everything is 100% natural and pure. And so the quality of those nectars that those bees, feed on and those bees locate, they are generally the plants rather are generally high quality. And so that also affects, the quality of nectar that the bees use to create their honey. And that's one of the reasons why African honey is like really, really potent and really, really nice. Another thing is many beekeepers, many bee farmers all over the world, they use a lot of chemicals and drugs and antibiotics to treat their bees, because some people experience like some of their bees dying prematurely and all that. So they use a lot of chemicals and all to keep their bees, alive and producing honey. Meanwhile, in Africa, because beekeeping business is relatively new and relatively young, most of the bee farmers in Africa, the bees survive on natural things. Like nobody goes ahead to give them antibiotics or whatever to keep them alive. Everything is completely natural. Everything goes through a complete natural process. And so the quality of the bees, the integrity of the bees are generally a lot higher and more natural. And that's why the honey that they produce is generally healthy, much healthy and much more natural. And like I said earlier, African bees are usually more resistant to many of the diseases that affect bees in other parts of the world. So African honey is actually amazing. So if like I said, if you're in Africa, I highly recommend. I don't know why people keep buying all these imported honey from other parts of the world when you have the real deal here. If you can find like a good vendor that you can buy your honey from, I highly recommend that you go ahead and patronize local beekeepers here in Africa. Even if you're not in Africa, even if you're not in Nigeria, wherever you live, I highly recommend that you go ahead and patronize local bee farmers around you, because the honey that you get from local bee farmers is usually much more healthy and safe and natural and raw than many of all these big brands, honey from all these big brands that you buy in the supermarkets and all that. So I highly recommend, if you know any bee farmers around you, buy from them. It's do you a lot of good, and it's also help to help their business and all that. For those of you that are around me, if you guys are interested, I have a small business where I basically buy from all these local people who produce. I sell shea butter, I sell honey, so I buy from local producers around me and I can sell to you if you're interested. So you can go ahead and send me a DM on my business page at Okibe Hair Care. I'm going to link all the details down in the description box if you guys are interested. So I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I hope you guys are now equipped with the right information to help you to support original pure organic honey. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in my next video.